You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and in today's video, we're going to react to some news coming out of Giants rookie minicamp as the Giants have come to an agreement with a rookie minicamp invite player, Elijah Chatman, the defensive tackle from SMU. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the baby Bison, as well as what Brian Daboll had to say about Cor'Dale Flott and him being that starting boundary corner outside of Deonte Banks. That's all coming up around the corner. But first, I got to make sure everybody watching today's video is subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. We put out free, informative, entertaining, passion-driven content on your New York Giants every single day. And we're trying to get to our offseason goal of 48,000 subscribers. So if you want free videos every day on Big Blue, hit that subscribe button right now. Following Giants rookie minicamp that wrapped up over this weekend, the Giants have come to an agreement with a UDFA out of SMU, the defensive tackle, Elijah Chatman. He was invited to rookie minicamp on a tryout basis, and it's rare, I feel like, when you see a player that gets invited on a tryout end up making the roster. Not the 53, he's on the 90-man roster right now, and he'll have the rest of the offseason to prove to this team if he deserves one of those final roster spots. He earned all ACC first-team honors following his fifth season at SMU, and his career stats: 148 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 5 fumble recoveries. The main reason I would say Chatman went undrafted is he really just doesn't have the size of an NFL defensive tackle. He's really 5'11", 278 pounds, but they call him the baby Bison for a reason. He is a worker. He's extremely strong. He's hard to move off his spot. And he's got underrated quickness that I think you see when you go back and watch his film and see what he did for Southern Methodist. Looking at his pre-draft testing numbers at his pro day, officially came in at 5'11", 278 pounds. He threw up 225 pounds on the bench 32 times. A 31-inch vertical for him is pretty damn good. That's the 81st percentile. And you look at his speed grades. He ran a 4.81. That comes in the 98th percentile for defensive tackles. You see the 10-yard split and the 20-yard split. That shows that he can get going really, really quickly. Didn't test too well in the short shuttle and the 3-cone drill. But, man, the production was there for Chatman for the entire 5 years of his college football career down in Dallas. SMU 2020 in 10 games played. He had 25 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. The next year he played 12 games, 40 tackles, 9 for loss, 2.5 sacks. The next year he played another game, 39 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. And this past year, his best season in college, 33 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. I believe that was the second most for SMU, any player on their team. And my question is this: did still Dre Patterson, the best defensive line coach in the National Football League, did he do it again? We saw what he was able to do with DJ Davidson in his first couple of years, a late-round pick at Arizona State. He looks like he's got some NFL potential. We saw last year, Jordan Riley, the defensive tackle out of Oregon, a day 3 pick. He showed some signs. And if Andre Patterson believes in a player, I'm going to believe in him, because what he can do with a young player that has tackle and help mold him as a player and a person, it can really have success for them in their NFL career. Brian Daboll also said this about rookie minicamp when it comes to signing a player that was maybe on a tryout basis or letting them walk. And I thought it was interesting. Quote, "You don't want anybody to slip through the cracks. So you bring as many people in as you can and give them an opportunity. Again, maybe you sign 1, maybe you sign 2, or you don't sign any. But I think it's good for those guys to get an opportunity and for us to get eyes on them doing some of our stuff. And if someone we think is worth bringing up and signing, that's what we'll do." And that's exactly what the New York Giants did with Elijah Chatman. So now you get a look at this entire defensive line depth chart. You know the big dogs include Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeaux. And you got some complimentary players like Rakeem Nunez-Roches, Azeez Ojulari, Boogie Basham. So Ben Whitley, DJ Davidson, Jordan Riley, and Ryder Anderson. But when you get a closer look at the defensive tackle depth chart and the interior defensive line. There's still a question mark as to who's going to be that starting DT next to Sexy Dexy at that nose tackle position. It's going to be a battle, and that's really all you can ask for as a Giant fan. You want competition, and there is going to be competition with Rakeem Nunez-Roches, DJ Davidson, Jordan Riley, Jordan Phillips, who you signed from the Buffalo Bills, and as well as Elijah Chatman, Horn, and Ryder Anderson. So you've seen the D-line now. You've added another player in Elijah Chatman. How are we feeling about the front four, really the front five for the New York Giants? In my opinion, this is the most talented position group on this team, and it's really the position group that they've invested the most in. First-round pick in Dexter Lawrence. First-round pick in Kayvon Thibodeaux. Big-time trade for Brian Burns. Second-round pick in Azeez Ojulari. Grade the Giants D-line. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's close the show talking about Cor'Dale Flott and what Brian Daboll had to say about the player entering his third year after being a third-round pick out of LSU, because it's a question mark as to who is going to be that opposite boundary corner of Deonte Banks. And I thought it was interesting that Brian Daboll name-dropped Cor'Dale Flott. He doesn't do that type of stuff. He likes to give you a Belichickian type of answer. Very vanilla, very lame. Not this time. He was asked pretty much, what are the Giants going to do at that second corner spot? And he said, look forward to working in phase 3 in training camp, but I've got a lot of confidence in Cor'Dale Flott. He didn't have to say that. He also could have mentioned any other corner on this team. But by name, he said Cor'Dale Flott. And that tells me that coming into training camp and the rest of the offseason programs, that Flott is going to step in and get the initial reps as that second outside corner. He's had an up and down career, but it's also been a little bit interesting to see the ways that the Giants have used him in different spots over his 2-year career. Rookie season, he really only played outside corner. 269 snaps as a boundary corner for Big Blue in his rookie season. Only 15 snaps in the slot. Those numbers, they completely flipped in 2023. He went from an outside corner in 2022 to a slot corner in 2023. 45 snaps as an outside corner this past year, 432 in the slot. And he's had some really good games in his career so far. I go back to that playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings where the Giants beat Kirk Cousins. He had that key pass breakup on KJ Osborne running that deep over route to force a fourth down where Kirk Cousins checked it down short to TJ Hawkinson. And I like the ability for Flott to play on the outside and in the slot, but I'm not so sure which one he is better at, because when you look at the stats, it's hard to draw, I would say, a conclusion from 2 years of if Flott is a slot corner or if he is an outside corner. But he did have better numbers as a rookie when playing the boundary more often. According to PFF, he had a coverage grade of 70.7. He allowed 178 yards, just 1 touchdown. He was targeted 24 times, allowed 16 catches, 0 INTs, but he had 2 pass breakups. But he only had 193 coverage snaps compared to 2023, where he played in the slot more. He had 332 coverage snaps, but his coverage grade drops from almost 71 to 60. Gives up more than double the yards, almost 3 times exactly the touchdowns. His completions to attempts when targeted, 40 to 62. That's not very good. So he kind of struggled in 2023. And I'm still going to have him on the depth chart as the slot corner. I know it says that, and I know Brian Daboll said he's going to be the guy coming in as that boundary corner, but I think Nick McLeod really is the guy that's probably more likely to win that job. We'd all like for it to be Cor'Dale Flott, right? Third-round pick, LSU, SEC DB, entering his third year in the National Football League. You're expecting for him to take that step. But I just believe at this point, Nick McLeod is a better coverage player than Flott. I want him to be successful. I was calling him Cor'Dale Slot last year because I wanted him to be the slot corner. He didn't play all that well in that spot. So maybe they bounce him out again. In his third year in the league, he finally starts to find a groove. I could also see Andrew Phillips being that starting slot corner as well as competing with Nick McLeod. What's your confidence level in Cor'Dale Flott if he is your second outside corner and you got Deonte Banks and you got Flott with Phillips or Nick McLeod in the slot? Confidence in him, scale 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident, 10, you are extremely confident. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter at @MarshallGreed_, and I'm also on Instagram at @MarshallGreed_. I'm tweeting, I'm posting about our New York Giants. So give me a follow over there and hit that thumbs up icon on your way out.